And that was exciting yesterday, and it felt great to actually see the Mets do this back-to-back in games. Like it was like, okay, we got a good team, we have a chance, and they're winning games, exciting games, and that's the thing about these two series with these four teams, that it really has that playoff feel to it. But to go back to that Aaron Judge thing that you were just talking about, yeah, there's no question that steroid era ruined it for everybody that was non-steroidal, including the guys that are playing now, Ohtani and Judge and Soto and anybody else that fits the moniker, Bryce Harper, all those guys, that weren't able to do that. Now, some guys are still trying to get away with different things, and they're getting in trouble for it, although it's far and few between. But I do think that, look, if you are a Yankee fan and you go to these games and these two guys are in the lineup, I mean, it's worth
Unless you're Bob Laterzi.
Yeah, Laterza, I think.
Whatever.
Yeah, I think that it's worth every penny, and this is why I keep thinking. Again, I will stay steadfast in this, that the Yankees, and I'm not trying to kiss anybody's butt or anything else. I'm just telling you what I see, and I see two superstars that are embracing the pennant race. I see two superstars that are not intimidated at all by the New York media, and like out of the blue, this whole Bob Laterza Staten Island Little League thing comes raining down on Aaron Judge, and what does he do? He goes out there and hits home runs.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I don't think he was affected at all.
Somebody wrote an article, I think it was Mike Vaccaro, somebody was writing an article about Juan Soto and how he's embraced being here in New York and how the pressure of performing hasn't at all inhibited his game for the Yankees, where some would say that it is inhibiting the game of Pete Alonso for the Mets.
Well, yeah, it also didn't inhibit the game of Aaron Judge when he turned down that offer and then went out and hit all those home runs in 2022. And he's almost on that pace again. He's actually just 2 home runs behind that pace.
What did I say? Did I say over 60 this year?
I don't remember, but
I remember saying
whatever he ends up with, you're going to tell us that you had it right.
It. I said no. You just shut your pie hole over there, because
whatever he ends up with, you'll be like, didn't I say?
I'm telling you.
Eddie going fine today. I said he hit 65.
I am telling you, I said that I thought he would hit like 65 or something. I remember saying that and you guys poo-pooing me.
Okay,
I hope he does, man. I really do. I want it. Why? Because the thing about Aaron Judge is that he is the face of baseball. He is the face of all of it, and he is the number one athlete in New York. He is, and the way that he's going about it, his respect and dignity and authenticity is off the charts. And he is a tremendous, tremendous baseball player. And that's why I'm saying, like, the Yankees are all in right now. I know it doesn't feel that way just simply because they have been middling over the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks. But they'll get I mean, look, these two guys at home in Yankee Stadium, man, they're worth the price of admission and then some.
Yeah, you got Juan Soto hitting more home runs than he ever has. And we got 6 weeks to go in the season, so those guys performing in the postseason feels like a lock because of the way they're hitting now. But of course, we have to see that. But yeah, we've had these conversations. I hate the steroid baseball Hall of Fame conversations. I would put all the guys in, whatever. But I was thinking, think about 2022 and then this year. If that never happened, if the Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, all of that never happened, and you had Aaron Judge doing this clean in a Yankee uniform, that would have been so much bigger than what 1998 was.
You don't feel like this is
like that saved baseball. This would have reignited baseball too.
I mean, between Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, and Mark McGwire, they would stop game. They would stop whatever you're watching, and they would go to those games.
I know. And now what Aaron Judge is doing clean, which is better than all of that, seems like an afterthought in the world of sports.
No, I don't. I mean, maybe.
Did you ever watch SportsCenter? It's all WNBA and NFL training camp. Nobody talks about it. We talk about it every day, so it feels like we're getting beat over the head with it. Then we turn on a radio station and everybody else is beating us over the head with it. But nationally, nobody cares. So that's a great point. Back then, they used to break into everything nationally to watch it. Now it's just like,
I don't know. I personally, as somebody who's a little bit up there in age and somebody who's been through all these decades of different sports and everything else, appreciate the brilliance of both of these players, but more so what Aaron Judge has done here, and the fact that he's done it clean, and the fact that he represents everything that's good about the game of baseball. It is America's pastime, after all.
It used to be.
Well, it used to be. I know, but what I'm saying is that it used to be this. I don't know, when I was growing up and I had Tom Seaver, on my wall in a poster, or I had, just all those great players as a kid. And then you think about this guy and what he is doing and how all these kids look up to him. I see that, maybe it's come full circle now. I mean, it's the same thing with Ohtani, by the way. If Ohtani didn't have that betting scandal around him and that lunatic assistant of his, maybe, we'd be feeling the same way. We don't watch him every day.
But he's not pitching now, too.
I know, but we don't watch him every day. But he's still a great player. And, this maybe is the – I don't know. I just feel like those two players and Juan Soto and Bryce Harper and guys like that and Freddie Freeman, you'd like to think that Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor are there, and maybe Francisco Alvarez will be there one day. The other thing I will say about the Mets that really isn't getting a lot of conversation either, but seems like they found their third baseman who they may end up moving up to first base next year with Mark Vientos. So, but the only thing with Vientos, he's got his 20 home runs. But it would be nice to see, maybe 10 or 15 more RBIs at the moment. But I will say they found a young player that can hit in the major leagues.
Yeah, I talked to you about the Steve McNair documentary in the late 90s NFL. And I thought about this in relation to baseball and what was going on. Think about how far one league has gone and another one has fallen since then. So 1998. They couldn't keep an NFL team in Houston. Houston, the fourth largest media market in the country. They couldn't keep an NFL team there. And then they move it to Memphis for a year, and then Tennessee, and then they obviously now have a great fan base there because they went to the Super Bowl in 99. And baseball in 98 is revitalized again, and breaking into everything and McGuire and all this stuff. And now you've got the number one conversation in sports being Bo Nix being named the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Aaron Judge is having the best offensive season since Ted Williams, and he's barely making any sort of news nationally. That right there, to me, in the time from 1998, 99 to now, the way the NFL has grown and baseball has fallen, I don't think there's any better example than that. 98 to right now.
Then how do you explain all the new stadiums in baseball?
I can't. We talk about this all the time.
I mean, how do you explain all the different outlets now that you have to watch baseball on, whether it be Apple, whether it be ESPN, whether it be
Roku. They're taking money from everybody.
Hey, they're taking money from everybody. Is right. Just like the NFL takes money from everybody.
It's not even close to the money that the NFL gets.
Well, or the NBA, for that matter. It's not even
close. So, I mean, and
all I can tell you is that
here's new stadiums. I'll tell you how to explain new stadiums. They take a ton of tax money.
Well, it's the political will. It's one of the reasons why the Oilers left. The Adams family didn't get along. The Adams family didn't get along with the city of Houston. The same thing with the Modell family out in Cleveland.
Yeah, right.
And Cincinnati Bengals actually used Baltimore for leverage as well. So they could get Paycor Stadium, or what was when they built it, Paul Brown Stadium, and have the best lease in all of football, where the county of Hamilton has to pay them to play there.
Yeah, well, I mean, so what new stadiums are you talking about in baseball?
Field,
that
Yankee
was 2009.
Stadium. How about the Rangers, Texas Rangers?
Long time ago.
How about the Texas Rangers? How about Petco Park?
That was a long time ago too.
How about the redo of Wrigley Field but all that stuff came after 1998. I mean, it was all like mid 2000s to late 2000s.
Yeah,
Texas.
It's been a long time.
The Rangers just opened their new stadium.
Okay. Well, that's one.
I mean, the Marlins got a new stadium.
Oh, okay, yeah, piece of crap.
Tampa Bay Rays are getting a new stadium.
Yeah, and how much?
Seattle got a new stadium.
How much of this is taxpayer money?
A lot of it, and a lot of it has to do with the will of the politicians to support these programs, much like in the NFL.
Because they really support the Marlins and the Rays, don't they?
I know, but I'm just saying that they do make money. They are money makers, by the way. But they say, how could you pay these commissioners this much money? And part of paying the commissioners the amount of money that they're making has to do with the increased worth of the teams that they are representing when they go in there and they try to get a stadium built. So when Kathy Hochul signs an $800 million tax bill to build the Buffalo Bills a new stadium up there in Buffalo, Orchard Park, that's a lot of lobbying going on by the NFL and their lawyers.
So you disagree with me that baseball has fallen dramatically and the NFL has grown dramatically since 1998?
I know the NFL has grown. Believe me, I've watched the salaries grow of the players, and I want to continue to see it grow. The Major League Baseball players' salaries have continued to grow. You got a $700 million player.
Yeah, I mean, in the business of sports, and obviously there's a ton of deferments there, and that's L.A. It's the biggest market. You don't see that in every market like you see it in the NFL. Like, guys don't get paid in Buffalo in any other sport but the NFL. So it's that's Cincinnati, Green Bay. I mean, it just doesn't happen.
Because they all have a $285 or $245 million salary cap.
But this is something.
But the Mets and the Yankees have paid, close to $400 million for half the amount of players that an NFL team have.
Yeah, and they're in New York, and they should be doing that. And
you got the Phillies, and you got the Cubs, and you got the Dodgers, and you got the Giants, and you got the Padres. I mean, there are.
Yeah, I don't know how baseball makes the money they do. This is something that Al talks about all the time to pay these players. I don't understand. The ratings go down. The attendance figures in most of these places are crap. The TV ratings on the regional sports networks are terrible. I really don't know how it happens.
Well,
I mean, if you can explain it to me, I can't.
For whether the Yankees sell out at 44,000.
You can't keep talking about the Yankees, though. You know what I'm saying? It's we know the Yankees are successful. It's the league itself. All of these other markets.
There's shared revenue. There's certain shared revenues that keep these other smaller teams like the Pirates involved.
Yeah.
You can't have the Yankees unless the Pirates, the Rays, the Kansas City Royals, unless they're all involved.
And those tax bills, when you go over the salary.
Luxury tax and all that other crap.
That goes to other teams, sure.
Yeah. I mean, so it is somewhat like the NFL financial model, where it's one for all and all for one, except for on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday when you're playing.
So you think the Aaron Judge season that's going on now is being covered properly in the world of sports in regards to what he's doing historically? Because I don't think so.
I think every time the Yankees are on national TV, whether it be ESPN or TNT or Fox on a weekend, whenever they're on national TV, that's all anybody is talking about is the great Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. That's all they're covering. I mean, like around the All-Star game, that's all they talked about. And everybody just, keeps writing article. I see article after article after article trying to come up with something new about what these two players are doing for the Yankees. I mean, it's incredible, yes, but I can't read anymore because everybody's got an opinion about it.
Well, it's sort of like
I think in the world of sports,
right? I mean, it reminds me of the years when Derek Jeter was doing no wrong, where it was almost like you didn't talk about him enough because you said all the good things you could say about him.
Yeah, but these numbers are eye-popping. And again, both he and Soto were doing it under the glare and the spotlight of New York. And, we know here everybody's got an opinion, and it's loud, it's noisy. And both of these players, I mean, it's ridiculous that, what do they got, 83 home runs now between them, and they're over 200 RBIs combined? That's ridiculous.
And then the nature of the way that the Yankees are perceived, none of this will matter to the Yankee fan if they bow out early in the postseason, which is crazy. It shouldn't be that way, but that's the way that it is with the Yankees. It just is. And they'll be like, oh, remember that year that they wasted Juan Soto and Aaron Judge in the same lineup when the Guardians knocked them out in 3 games?
They're not going to get wasted. I'm telling you, they're not going to get wasted.
All right, I don't know what's going to happen, but if it did happen that way, that would be the conversation. The conversation won't be we just witnessed one of the most historic offensive seasons from these two guys. It'll be they wasted those two guys in the same line.
I don't think it's going to be wasted. I don't. I think that they're too freaking good, and 162 game season is a long year. I mean, whether you're screaming and yelling about Luis Gil, who's now on the DL, or you're screaming and yelling about Anthony Volpe, or you're screaming and yelling about Rizzo, or you're screaming and yelling about, who's playing third base, what are we doing at catcher? I mean, it's just nonstop. It's one of the reasons why you and I sometimes don't get into the weeds with all of this stuff, because it just goes on and on and on and on. And when you and I both know and are smart enough to know and have been around long enough to know that it only counts in October for the Yankees.
For the Yankees. That's right. That is correct. And we will see what type of reaction we will get in this postseason, and we are getting closer and closer.
Can I say one thing?
Of course you can.
and I'm not really sure about this. I said this to Al right after his warm-up show. I said, I ran into a lot of strange fellas, little fellas, out there in the newsroom today that I have never seen before.
Strange little fellas?
Yeah. Somebody needs to tell me who these people are.
Well, I mean, I saw.
Are they interns? What are they doing?
Well, there was a lot of scurrying today because one of the other little fellas is not here, and we're actually wondering if he's okay. And so some of
Wait,
the other
what?
What now?
there was someone who was supposed to be here is not here, and there was
And with
some
no explanation?
correct.
Do we know who this person is?
It sounds like I think I know who it is. But let's not say who it is right now, just in case something actually happened to this person. Well, that's not good. Have they reached him yet?
No,
Still.
and I reached out as soon as I found out that he wasn't here. But anyway, so that caused the scurrying of the other people.
Oh, so that's what's going on. So there are a lot of fill-ins around here
Yeah,
today.
because
Never fails.
we had to get your minutes produced.
Yeah.
Never fails. Want to have a little fun with something, and then all of a sudden, a serious story.
Yeah, exactly.
Comes
I've
down
seen
the
a
pipe.
lot
We
of
don't
strange
know
little
if it's-
fellas out there. That's all.
Yeah, like you just wanted to bring that up, and now Eddie's like, well, there's a man missing. And there's an APB on this man. So this scurrying little fella's conversation needs to come to a grinding halt.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
Cool
like
stuff.
a guy will call up and I'll think that he's drunk, and then I'll be like, I've got Bell's palsy. I'm like, God. Every time, you know?
Yeah, I know.
It's just so you can't even
Or if
try
you
to
bring
have
up
fun.
something light, then Boomer changes it to some serious hockey point.
That never happens, Eddie. Stop.
Just worry about your 401k there, cuz.
Boomer and Gio on the fan.
Living in a tent up in New Hampshire.
Jesus. This is getting very personal.